I'm Michael Peters, sports editor of the Tulsa World, sitting alongside Mike Brown, one of our high school football writers, and we're here to talk high school football, and that means one thing this week. It means Jenks and Union, Chapman Stadium, Friday night. It's always a fun time. It's always, there's always a lot on the line, even if there's nothing on the line, and so it's an entertaining week for us here in the Tulsa area. You've gotten a chance to see a lot of these games. You've gotten a chance to talk a lot about these two teams this year. What is this version of the game going to be like as compared to some of the past versions?
I have some friends who are fans, and I said, go to the stadium with high hopes, but I wouldn't bet a nickel on the outcome. It looks like to me there's a lot of really good players on both sides of on the ledger that could really screw up any calculations you could make about who's going to win the game.
Well, it seemed like last year Jenks kind of proved something in Texas last year, and maybe this year it was Union that proved something in Texas. You got a chance to go to AT&T Stadium this past weekend. I want to say Friday night, but it's not even really Friday night. It's on to Saturday morning with such a late kickoff and a late overtime ending, and got to see Union take the number 6 team in the state of Texas all the way down to the wire, have them a lead in the fourth quarter, lose on a really gutsy trick play in overtime. What did Union show you against South Lake Carroll last weekend? Well,
offensively, they were just spectacular. Mason Farquhar, Robert Thomas, Tyler Atkins. They were all terrific. Atkins was the best player on the field. Robert Thomas was close. Both teams had terrific athletes. Ryan can't call the South Lake quarterback's name. Ryan Agnew, South Lake quarterback, is terrific. I'm sure he's going to play Division I football. A kid named Parker Fentress, who threw the touchdown or the 2-point conversion pass, was spectacular in the game at receiver. So it was really a terrific game. But Union has upgraded from, if you can believe that a team that lost the receivers they did could possibly be thinking that they may be better. They really are, and I think it's in the trenches as much as anything else. Their front seven destroyed Bentonville's quarterback in the scrimmage and was this close to making a real difference in the game the other night. I'm sure they sacked Agnew 4 or 5 times. They chased him out of the pocket repeatedly, made a play a 10-yard sack in overtime, which, if Union doesn't get a big penalty on the next play, could have been the deciding play in the game. So I think they're better defensively. 3 terrific players on offense. So I think right now it looks like an even game to me.
Well, Jenks showed quite a bit of separation this past week when they played Bixby, kind of the difference between 6A Division I and 6A Division II. Quite a stark difference in those two classes, at least by indication of that game. Do you think this Jenks team is as good as the team that won the state championship last year?
I just think it's fair to say probably not, only when you look at the number of outstanding defensive players that they lost from last year. But on the other hand, when you look offensively, Carson Epps has been spectacular in the scrimmages that I've seen. I keep using that word, spectacular. But he's fast and strong. He looks to be every bit the athlete that Jordan Smallwood was, and that's a guy playing Division I football. So I don't think Jenks is there yet, but they're an awfully dominant football team.
And we always talk here in the Tulsa area how it's a big week for us when it's Jenks versus Union. It's kind of a special rivalry. It's one of the rivalries that across the country people point to when they talk about big time high school games. It's going to be in a big time venue. A lot of times these teams come back around the second time to play in the state semifinals or the state finals. From your perspective, what makes Jenks Union special?
Well, again, I think that they're so close to, they're located so close together. They both have huge fan bases. Both of their teams grow up playing. The guys from both teams, they know each other. They play each other, probably played each other since the 5th or 6th grade. The fan bases are huge, and they're going to show up. I don't think you'll have the crowd that you've had in some of the early years when they were drawing 40,000, but because this game is so everybody knows it's going to be played now, maybe 2 times every year.
Right, wait for the second chance to watch them in the state
But I
semifinals.
think there'll be 15 to 18,000 out there at the very least, and I think both fan bases will show up with attitude.
Well, that's all we have time for this week. Please join us again next week and every week throughout the high school football season.